Hello my friends, it is February the 6th of 2023. This video is entitled 5 More Underrated Albums. Some months ago I had created a video entitled 5 Underrated Albums. I definitely enjoyed that video, so I decided to make another one of these. And so yeah, I picked out 5 more albums that I feel are underrated. Alright, so I'm going to go through these albums and talk to you about them. Alright, let's get right into this. Up first is Morbid Angel with Kingdom's Disdain. This album came out in 2017. Yeah, I really enjoy this album. This is Morbid Angel's most recent album. But yeah, I understand there are quite a few Morbid Angel fans out there that aren't too fond of this album. And I'm not entirely sure why, because to me it is just an excellent album. It's incredibly heavy and fast and technical, and the songwriting here is just fantastic. It's a very consistent album throughout, and yeah, I really enjoy it. Excellent guitar playing, so many great riffs here, and the drumming is just absolutely phenomenal. Steve Tucker's vocals are just fantastic as well, and I understand some people aren't too fond of the mix of the album, but yeah, initially I didn't really like the mix all that much either, but I've certainly gotten used to it since, and yeah, I really enjoy this album. And certainly not one of my favorite Morbid Angel albums, because there are other Morbid Angel albums that I definitely enjoy more, but I really enjoy this album so much, and I feel like it's an underrated album. Alright, so that is Morbid Angel with Kingdom's Disdained. At the Gates with At War with Reality. This album came out in 2014. So this is At the Gates' comeback album. Okay, so the album prior to this was Slaughter of the Soul. That album came out in 1995. Slaughter of the Soul, such an amazing album, and an album that I love so much, and I know that so many other death metal fans out there just absolutely adore that album. And so yeah, they followed it up with this one, and a lot of the fans weren't too fond of it, but I think it's just a phenomenal comeback album. I really enjoy this one so much, and yeah, I feel like it's an excellent comeback album. I really enjoy the songwriting here. The songs are just fantastic. Excellent musicianship here. Yeah, I think it's a solid album, and yeah, unfortunately there are quite a few At the Gates fans that just don't care for it that much, and hey, that's their business, but I really enjoy this album, and I think that it's an underrated album. Alright, so that is At the Gates with At War with Reality. Soilwork with Steel Bath Suicide. This album came out in 1998, so this is Soilwork's first full-length album. And yeah, I just absolutely love Soilwork so much. I do have all their full-length albums, and but I do understand there are quite a few Soilwork fans out there that just don't really maybe care for this album that much. To me, it is just a top-notch debut album, and better than what I thought. It's much better than what I initially thought. This album is just absolutely ripping. It's incredibly heavy, and I just really like the songwriting here. There's just so much energy and aggression and anger, and it's a very consistent album throughout. I feel like most of the songs here are just phenomenal. I really enjoy this album so much. Top-notch musicianship here. Like I said, this is an excellent debut album, and I really enjoy it. And but I do understand there are some Soilwork fans out there, quite a number of them, that just maybe aren't too fond of it. And hey, that's all right, but I do feel like it's an underrated album. Okay, so that is Soilwork with Steel Bath Suicide. Paradise Lost with 1 Second. This album came out in 1997. Yes, I'm a huge fan of Paradise Lost. I'm sure most of you are well aware of that. And so Paradise Lost have altered their sound throughout the years, and so this particular phase of their career, they had definitely altered their sound. They went a little bit more, I suppose, rock and roll, hard rock, kind of just full on like gothic rock. Not as heavy as their earlier material, and so yeah, and I know a lot of the fans out there maybe weren't too fond of that. A little bit disappointed that they were kind of going into a different direction and becoming sort of like less heavy and a bit more, I suppose, mainstream maybe. But you know what, this album is incredible. The songwriting here is just phenomenal. Like, so many excellent songs right on here, so many catchy songs, and I just feel like everything about this album is just phenomenal. yeah, initially I didn't like this album at all when I first heard it. I was definitely disappointed myself, but I've since really have come to really enjoy this album, and yeah, it's excellent, and I definitely urge fans out there that maybe aren't too keen on this album to give it another try, because it's excellent. I feel like it's a very, very good album, and an underrated album. Alright, so that is Paradise Lost with 1 Second. And the last album on my list is Dissection with Re and Chaos. This album came out in 2006, so this is Dissection's final album. This album came out, I guess, about three, maybe 4 or 5 months prior to John Nudvit's death. John Nudvit, of course, being the guitarist and the vocalist and the main songwriter of Dissection. He ended his life. He committed suicide back in the summer of 2006, and so this is the final album of Dissection, and yeah, excellent album here. I really, really enjoy this album. This is an album that I've listened to so much, and so yeah, I do understand there are a lot of Dissection fans out there that were disappointed when this album was released, and they were expecting something else, but Dissection definitely went into a different direction. This isn't really a black metal album at all, and Dissection were of course known for being more of a black metal band with some death metal elements. But with this album, they definitely went away from that and sort of like reinvented their sound. And so yeah, this is more of a, almost like a more of a melodic death metal type of album. It's certainly very dark, angry, and aggressive music here, but it, yeah, definitely has more of that melodic death metal sound. Definitely influenced by bands like, let's say, like Soilwork or In Flames or Dark Tranquility, more of that kind of Swedish melodic death metal type of sound. So yeah, that's the direction that they went on with this album. But of course, fans were disappointed with that. They were expecting something that was more similar to their earlier albums, but you know what? This album is just absolutely phenomenal, and I definitely urge those fans to give this album another try, because the songwriting on here is just absolutely incredible, and all the songs on here on this album are just phenomenal. Excellent musicianship, and the songs are so memorable, and the guitar riffs and John Nesbitt's vocals and the lyrics and everything about it is just absolutely incredible. The production, I really enjoy this album so much, and I may actually consider this to be my most favorite Dissection album. I really think it's that good. I really love this album so much, and I definitely feel like it's an underrated album, that's for sure. Okay, so that is Dissection with Re and Chaos. Okay, so those are 5 more underrated albums. So yeah, these are albums I enjoy quite a lot, and but I do understand that people don't like them for various reasons, but yeah, I definitely consider them to be underrated albums. So yeah, let me know what you think. Leave some comments. Tell me what some albums you consider to be underrated, and yeah, I'm very curious to know, so please leave some comments. Alright, so I want to say thank you very much for watching, and I want to say thanks to all the people who watch my videos and subscribe to my channel. I really, truly appreciate it. Take care, my friends. Cheers.